Welcome to our first of, we hope will be mini series of Ask an Ally. And today you get two for the price of one because I have my partner in crime here, Andrea Gilkison.
Hi.
And we are going to be talking about school preparedness and how we can get ready and some tips and tricks that will help you to ease your mind and also your child's mind and anxiety as we start school. So there are things that you can put in place now, even today, if you have school starting within the next 24 hours or a week from now, that will help you and help your student and your teacher to make this what we hope to be a very successful year. So first I want to introduce myself. I'm Natalee Mace, an Autism ally. I serve districts southwest, so Morgan County out to Vigo County. I also have two boys, 8 and 7, going into third grade and first grade, both integrated into general classroom setting. And the one thing you probably didn't realize about all autism allies are we are also parents of children on the spectrum, so we get it. And I want to turn it over to Andrea to talk a little bit about her.
Hi, I'm Andrea Gilkison. I have a son, 7, who will be into 2nd grade. And Natalee and I have known each other for a while. Every year before the beginning of school, she and I kind of run strategies, if you will, before the school year starts. And at the beginning of this year, we decided that we thought we would open it to other parents, share some of the things that we've learned together,
yes,
and ask you folks for your successful tips and tricks on preparing your child for back to school.
Yes, and since we come from different schools, like she said, we just wanted to talk about our schools and then the success stories that we've had, since they do have different rules and different things that are allowed. So first, how do we prepare, communicate, and begin to implement some of our best strategies? Well, we're going to make it very easy for you. But before we do that, I would like to just give a quick quote about being an autism parent, and this is from 2minuteparenting.com. Until you have a kid with special needs, you have no idea of the depth of your strength, tenacity, and resourcefulness. And we're going to be talking about all three of those things today. So what can we do to get started? Well, what we do in our house is, like I said, I have 2 boys, and we take them in 2 weeks prior to school starting, with the school's permission, of course. We let them walk the building. The teachers are not there yet, but they get to go and see the classrooms. We do a quick little fun quiz. Take me to the music room and what happens there, and what's your favorite thing to do at school. And then we'll go over little things like, what's your PIN number this year, so that they're all excited and all ready to go. And we've already made that initial step into the school building. And then the next couple of weeks following, we will go in intermittently and we will go to the school and we'll set up the morning routine. So we'll wake up early, we'll grab the backpack, we'll head in the car, we'll go into the classroom, they'll pick their seat, they'll meet their teacher, get to ask a few questions. I will take pictures then of all the visual schedules that are in the classroom, take pictures of them smiling with their new teacher, and show those a couple days before school about how excited we are and how much fun they're going to have this year. And then we will sit down and we'll do a worksheet at their assigned seat. So those are some of the things that we do to gear up for school. And then Andrea also has some great ideas as well that she does.
Well, to start things off, we go back even a little bit farther. And about a month before school, we start practicing our daily routine. And that might be getting up a little earlier, going to bed a little earlier. It's really nice to do if you can do it in 15-minute increments. If your child's used to staying up late because it's summer and it's summertime, and they're going to bed at 10:30 and you want them to go to bed at 11, let's start moving it back in 15-minute increments. We'd also want to start our morning routine. Start brushing our teeth, washing our face, getting dressed. Whatever you would expect them to do for the school year in the mornings is what you would want them to do practicing into the school year. So that's how we start. And then, like Natalee, we also start going into the school and we start doing things with that. But the biggest thing for me is prior to school starting, I come up with and you're not going to be able to see it very well, It's a little 2-page biography with Oliver. It has his picture on it, has his name, it has my contact information, my husband's contact information. The first page is his medical history, because my son has some medical stuff. And then the second page, and this is just a quick and dirty thing, the second page is his strengths, his weaknesses, his likes, and his dislikes. So that the teacher has some footing right at the beginning of the year, and she kind of knows what to expect and some little tricks for him.
Exactly. And because it's a new teacher and a new student and the IEP is so long, how nice is it to present teachers with a one-pager? And that's what we do. It's similar to what Andrea does, just a little bit different. So on here, it's a quick what my name is. If they have a nickname, you can add a picture of them. And then on this sheet says what I'm looking forward to this school year. When I'm not at school, what I like to do, favorite subject, if they have an IEP or a 504 accommodations, and those can just be some really general accommodations that are also in the IEP. Sometimes I need extra help with, and then what I want my teacher to know. And this is just a great one-pager for them to look at and have a little bio and a little intro to your student. And we do this again before all the students arrive. So I will give this to the teacher one of the days that we're going to visit the school, so that they have this on both boys, which is very helpful and I think such a good idea. And we also at the end of this will have links for everything so that you will be able to get these resources yourself.
Oh, I'm just going to cut you off real quick for a second. We are doing a hashtag, and you may have seen it in the comments. It's hashtag #AskAnAllyBackToCool. If you have any tips and tricks, please make sure that you post it out there. We'd love to see some of your tried and true tricks.
Yes, good deal. And then also want to mention for middle school and high school, we had some parents get back to us early about some things that helped them with going back to middle school. So you can do the same thing essentially, but it would be going into the building, getting their schedule ahead of time, walking around the building, looking at all the classrooms, maybe meeting the homeroom teacher at that time, meeting the resource teacher, have that student ask the resource teacher their questions, and then of course as a parent you will have your own questions. Maybe finding their locker and trying out the combination and unlocking and locking, because that could be problematic if we wait until the school year starts. And then also maybe go online and show each teacher's webpage and what they look like and the expectations for that year and some of the things that they're going to learn, and that might help ease some anxiety as well. And then another thing that you can do with any age student is create a visual schedule. And we used to use this visual schedule on our smartphone, but it can be a visual schedule on a tablet. It can be pictures that you take at home. It can be pictures you take on a phone and show. This one in particular is called ChoiceWorks, and how it's set up is this is morning schedule, and it can tell them what their morning schedule is. You can choose the board, you can reset the board, but it goes through each item, like this is take medicine, wash hands, get dressed. You can put a timer to each one, and then they can check it off as finished. And then when they're all done, it's a first event. So after we've done that, we get to choose an activity or have a snack. And I think just having that ahead of time decreases the anxiety, because then they understand and know what's coming next. And this can work for everyone. And this is just one of many apps that are out there that are visual schedules or morning routines or bedtime routines. In this particular app, there's already set up morning schedule, already a set up evening schedule. But we will also have those later on for you, so you know where to access some of those resources.
We had a question that asked, how do you prepare a child for riding on the bus for the first time? For us, and do your kids ride the bus?
They don't.
Oh, Oliver does.
This is a great question.
So about a month before school, our bus driver contacts us, and we got his name, so we drew a card for him. We started talking about riding the bus and how there were lots of kids on the bus. We started singing the wheels on the bus go round and round and talking about the kids and crying. We even used, in Lafayette, we used the public transportation and did a little cruise on the bus. There are a million different things. If you go on YouTube and type in bus ride, make sure you're watching it though, it could get a little wonky. you can find first bus rides. But that's what we did. We met our bus driver and drew him a picture and talked about it, and he was so excited to get on the bus. It was
Love it.
fun.
And I did talk to an occupational therapist, and she mentioned that some of the kiddos that ride the bus, they'll have weighted lap bands that they can use, or maybe something that they can put on their lap just for calming, or vests. And so that might be something that you'll want to implement early or talk with the bus driver about as well. So those
Can you
are
name
some
that
great
app one more
suggestions.
time?
Yes, the app that I showed is called ChoiceWorks. And you can find it on the iTunes store, and they also have a website as well. And so with the ChoiceWorks, you will get the morning schedule, the schedules. You will get a first then, and you'll get a waiting app. And then some of those are already in the actual app, so that you don't have to create them. But you can add your own pictures, you can add your voice, you can add videos. It's amazing. It's a great app, and it's very quick. You set it up in 2 minutes, and then kiddos, as they're going through it, here, check it off, done. It'll say finished, and there's a timer if they've gone too long, and then they can just finish it off. So what's great about schedules is it creates flexibility, which you wouldn't think it would, but because it's not mom or dad telling them to do it, it's a schedule telling them to do it, it's easier for them to follow, and then it's easier for you when they're moving past that schedule onto something different to be able to add and to edit that schedule. Okay, and then some other things that...
we have another question.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Have your schools been receptive to kids coming early to meet with teachers? Ours has been.
Yes.
Very receptive.
Mm-hmm. Ours too.
It's worth a shot in asking.
Absolutely.
We have found, again, we kind of bounce off of each other. And I think over the last few years, we've realized that we've done way more good coming into the school year early, coming in and walking the halls and meeting the teacher and doing worksheets in our desk before anybody's in it. It brings a sense of balance and adjustment, and our schools have been very open to that. And it really has fostered a nice communication with the teachers throughout the rest of the year. When you have to ask them to come in, and they get to see your kid one-to-one before the school year starts, they get to see the real picture of your child.
Right.
It's really worked out for our benefit.
And not only going in 10 minutes early before the kiddos are there, that already prepares them and sets them up for success. So that's before all the chaos ensues and the bell rings and the sensory overload. So they've already had that time. And what we have also written into our IEP plan is that teacher will have 5 minutes to talk to them about something that's of interest to them. So they're talking about, let's say it's trains, and they're going to talk about that for 5 minutes. And then the teacher has a special project for my boys, and it might be, and so it would include heavy lifting. So it might be, oh, I need you to help me take my library books over to this side of the room, and that heavy lifting is actually very calming to them. So that gets them, more focused and ready for the school day. So that's a great question, and for both of us, it's been very successful. Highly recommend doing that. And then some other tips and tricks that have worked for us through the school year is besides like going into the classroom and having the visual schedules, is to continue practicing the nighttime routine as well. So the nighttime routine is just as important as the morning routine. And you want to keep that as consistent as possible. So try every night, even if you need to set up a visual schedule for that, that's also on ChoiceWorks, and that helps. And then another really effective tool that we have found is a communication log between our teachers and our students, and our ABA therapists are allowed into the school building, so they're also tracking different things. And then that way, when our kiddos get home, I can talk about all of the positive things that happened and then reinforce that so that they're seeing those same positive things happen at school. And let me just show you an example of a behavior log that was used last year. So this is an example of a behavior log. And as you can see at the very bottom, it was a behavior log that was made for parents to say when their kids were maybe not having such a great day. We turned ours around to, yes, we can put those things in there when they're not having a great day, but let's also talk about the positive things so that we can talk about that at home, and then hopefully you see that again in decreased behaviors at school. So for example, on here, they've added things like had a great morning, great job on math test, great day all around, great job during Sparkle, which is a game that my oldest plays and he does not like to lose. So when he loses, we see some pretty inappropriate behaviors. But when I can remind him, oh, you did such a great job at that game, I'm so proud of you, he's going to repeat that behavior. And it's all learned behavior. So then he'll say, oh, okay, that's what I need to do when I lose. Or great job on a project that he normally doesn't have very much success in. So this is a great idea for, I think, teachers and parents alike to also focus on the positive things that are happening and talk about that. And then that just carries over into school and to daily life as well.
So Natalee uses a behavior log. At our school, we use a daily journal. And it's a little book that Oliver carries in his backpack. It goes to school in the morning and comes home in the afternoon. And for the last few years, because again, he's just going into second grade, for the last few years, the teachers and the para and I have all been writing back and forth in it. And some days it can be just simple, didn't sleep well. Some days it'll be, we had the best morning ever, and you'll get a paragraph. What I would like to say is this year for second grade, we're going to have Oliver start writing his own journal entries and giving him a little bit of accountability. And then the teacher and I hopefully will email beyond that so that he doesn't necessarily see everything.
Yes.
But I'd also like her to put stuff in the notebook. She and I need to work that out. But that's our game plan for now, is to have that. I think the idea is to have the open communication with the teacher.
Absolutely,
and to
that's
constantly be aware of what's going on at home and in school.
Yes, and so just speaking on that, also this year they're going to have Noah write down his behavior numbers or log or however that will go, then to help him understand, oh, well, I didn't do so well here, but I had a really good time here, and then maybe he can understand a little bit more about what's expected for certain times throughout the day, and they're going to that's going to give him some more independence, more self-confidence, more self-esteem. So we're working on those areas as well. Another question. All right, what kinds of reinforcers do your school use for good behaviors? Can you discuss behavior intervention plans a little more? Absolutely. So my school is wonderful with the reinforcers. They started out using a token system, so they would earn so many tokens, and then they would have free time or time on the iPad or whatever was of interest to them. But we also have, if they're doing a really good job, our teachers have allowed us to bring in a prize box. So this is my son's prize box. You can get this at the dollar store, by the way. I'm not spending a lot of money on this, and it's very easy to do. And then I just went to the dollar store and bought some things that are of interest to him. So let's say he was on green or had good behavior all week. He got to pick a prize out of the prize box, and he was so excited, and it was so reinforcing for him to be able to do this. So he's really into animals. So I found these little earthworms at the dollar store, and it's little things like this that make a big difference. And then eventually we faded that away to when you have good behavior for a month and good behavior for 2 weeks, and then we faded away completely at the end of the year. So the positive reinforcements that you can put in place, yes, he had a whoopee cushion. He's a boy. What could I say? That was a huge reinforcer. Right? That's great. So just something simple like that, and you can bring it in for the teacher, or the teacher might have some ideas, but to collaborate on that is such a great idea, and it works out so well. So that is a great, great question. Do we have any more right now? Okay. All right. So we will keep going. So another thing that I like to do is ask the teacher what they're going to teach the next week, so that we're doing some pre-teaching, so that my kids know what's coming up for the next week. There's no surprises. So next week we're going to be reading such and such story. Here's the spelling list. Here are the things that you need to know for math. And we just go over that very generally. We're not getting into the actual teaching part of it, but just so they know what's coming up. And that's worked really well. Just to have that little insight as, hey, next week, here are the things to be expecting and what we're going to do. And then we have a dry erase calendar with the 5 days on it, and I will write that on their calendar. So it'll be under notes. Next week, we are going to learn about addition. Next week, we are going to start learning about, animals. So that has always helped them, and they look at that calendar, and I think having any kind of visual or anything like that can let them know what's coming up is always just so helpful, both at home and at school.
We have a cheat sheet of things that we've talked about that we wanted to make sure that we spoke about today. And one of them is on here was the importance of explaining to my son the difference between first grade and second grade, how his responsibilities, accountability, how he's a big boy now and not a little boy, and kind of discussing what some of the differences are. Kids are so used to transition, especially my guy, that we wanted to make sure that we I just lost my train of thought.
Talking about the school and how it's going to change.
Oh, yeah. How it's going to change. And we want to make sure that he understands what his
Absolutely.
expectations are. When you can set the expectations, some of that anxiety goes away. And
Yes.
we want to make sure that we stay on top of it.
Yes, definitely. And I think another thing that helps with anxiety and also helps with preparing them for the next year is showing them pictures of when they were having fun last year.
Yeah.
So it was so fun last year, and here are the great things you're going to get to do this year. And I'm sorry, I'm grabbing my
No, I'm just going to read off this one little comment. Natalee's kids are watching, and they saw the prize box, and they're pretty excited.
Yes, good. The prize box will be there again, boys, so go for green. You can do it. And then some of the things that we do is we get out their school pictures from last year, but they also have yearbooks at our elementary school, and we go through this and we pick out all the fun days and all the fun times that they've had and all the friends they're going to see again, and it gets them very excited. And I start hearing things like, I can't wait to be in first grade. I can't wait to go to school and see so-and-so. So it's just been so helpful. And this is something so simple that you have, even if it's a class picture that you have from last year, use it and start talking about that and about their friends, about favorite teachers. It's all about making it positive for them and getting off to the right foot. And another thing I think that helps is the first day of school. If you can go a little early, go to the playground, or if they're older students, just get to school early, have them walk the grounds, shake out the sillies and the anxieties. I think that helps as well too. So those have been some things that have been very helpful in the pre-planning process for us. Also, as we go back to school, some fun things in our house. So we have different interests every year, but what we love to do is get onto Amazon, and we love to look at backpacks. And so they feel empowered and part of the process when they get to pick out their own backpacks. And we go through magazines and we talk about school clothes and what they want to wear. And so all of those back to school things are so much fun, and letting them have choices also makes them feel like they're in control, and also helps make it just an easier transition the first day of school.
We have another question about what about concerns? What about parents who are concerned when their children are being bullied at school? And coming back into that situation, we have resources that we will make sure to post up, and it's a support for high school students specifically. It teaches them how to work through it, how to overcome it, and how to get rid of it.
Yes.
And that's very, very important. I can only imagine the anxiety that you would have leaving a situation and then having to come back into it. I think the big thing is ensuring that teachers are aware, principals are aware, the school's aware, that you can build a support system within the school, whether it's a tag team with a guidance counselor, or if they do have a very close friend, somebody that they can confide in, especially if they're having a bad day. But I think the key to that is building a support system, whether it's online, in the school, well, really both. in moving through that.
And I think having a plan in place. So talk about that. My child's being bullied at school. How are we all going to work as a team to address that situation? And then maybe have a peer model that's on, if it's happening at recess, they're at recess with them and they're there to kind of help when that situation occurs. So just to kind of get them out of that situation, to avoid that person, and to get them interested in other things. And then also this year at our school, there was a situation of bullying that happened, and I thought our school did an excellent job. They did a play about bullying, and the children that were bullying were the ones in the play that got bullied, so that they could feel what that was like. And then they did it as a very educational type of thing. They invited parents, and it really did help the situation with that particular bullying situation. So there are a lot of things that you can work with the school, with the team, and hopefully that will help in that situation. That's a very difficult thing and definitely needs to be addressed and have a plan in place with your team.
I also think knowledge is power, and when we can teach kids more about autism and they understand it a little bit better, then we can address it and move forward. When you take away the anomaly of it, it makes it kind of common. And that's something that we as allies do. We can go into schools and talk with kids and teachers, anybody who wants to. That's part of our job.
Yes.
That's how we get our funding.
Yes.
And everything that we do is free. So if your child's in that situation, I would strongly encourage you to reach out to your ally. They can come and set up a program, some conversations, some presentations around how to get through bullying.
Yes. So with that being said, do we have any more questions right now that we need to answer, or are we good? Okay, so I just wanted to share, I've reached out to some parents before this Facebook Live, and we have a mother who has 2 children with special needs, and they're both in college, and I just wanted to pick her brain a little bit to see, what might be happening.
Thank you, Nicole.
Yes, thank you. Pacer.org is the National Bullying Prevention Center. There are a lot of great resources there. Great, thank you. And so this particular mom, 2intransition blogspot.com, her children are older, but I thought these were some great tips, and she was thinking more of like the high school age. So I just want to read a couple of these. Involve peers in transitions between activities. Our son would often respond to an invitation from a peer, but would have nothing to do with a request from a teacher. And how true is that, even with our youngsters, that, we can tell them to do something, but as soon as a peer says, hey, let's do this, then guess what? It happens. Also teach the concept of first this, then that, right? So that they know what's coming up. So they
and that's
don't
a
have
great
that
concept for any age.
Across the board. And she just wrote in here, I think not knowing what comes next brings out the anxiety monster in some kids on the spectrum. Knowing what happens next was somewhat calming. It helped him understand what he could expect. And then another great tip is get a locker at the end of a row to work out an alternative and make sure the alternative is noted in the IEP and that every hall monitor is on the same page. Lockers in both middle school and high school were a horrendous nightmare. The combination locks were always broken. They were too narrow. There wasn't enough room for him to maneuver his things in, out, and amidst the throngs of kids in the hallways. It was too loud, chaotic environment, but it finally worked out with the locker at the end so that he had more room. It was quiet, and then he was able to keep his coat in the resource room and only cart those materials that he needed. And then another great thing that I'm going to implement this year with my kiddos is to have an extra set of textbooks at home, because a lot of times they forget books or worksheets because there's so much going on during the day. So it's always good to just have that at home as a backup. And so I just thought those were some really good ideas. Again, she's at 2intransition.blogspot.com. And then, let's talk about the morning of the first day, right? So the morning of the first day, I like to wake my boys up 10 minutes early. I sing a little song instead of waking up to an alarm. And I keep that pretty consistent throughout the school year. And then they come down and they have 5 minutes of free time in their pajamas. But the most important thing with that is we start the routine, we stick to the routine, but 10 minutes before they go to school, we play a game. And the game involves heavy lifting. And that heavy lifting just helps them to get everything back in sync. It helps to calm them down so that when they get into school, they're more focused. And so that's just a little tip and trick that we do. And before they leave every morning, I'm very positive about school and say, this is going to be a great day and you're going to have a green day, and I can't wait to hear how you were such a rock star at school today. So that's how we try to set up every morning for breakfast, regardless if the day before was a really bad day. Don't focus on that day. Just always focus on the good things that you want to see and the good things that you want for them to repeat at school as well. And that will help improve their self-esteem, and it will also help in all areas and quality of life, and help the teacher as well. And then in our school, I've expressed that, our kiddos have trouble sitting still for long periods of time. And it's great to have some breaks incorporated throughout the day. And we do have sensory breaks in our IEP, but we also have calming times. So there are certain triggers that exist, and we know what those are. And so the teacher and our ABA therapist kind of have a code back and forth where they know, okay, it's time to step out. And then there's a rocking chair in the front of our school. And so one of my kiddos goes and rocks for 10 minutes. He comes back in, he's refocused, he's calm. And it's a good thing for him to get up and get at that anxiety and the nerves and all that out of his system. And then my youngest this year, which I thought was ingenious of his teacher, where he was sitting, there was some extra room around his desk, so she put down some blue tape. And because he likes to get up and move a lot, he could get up and move it anytime he wanted to throughout the day, as long as he stayed in his blue taped area. And that really helped him, and we were able to fade that out by the end of the year.
Great.
So,
Natalee, we're at 35 minutes.
Oh, we're at 35 minutes.
We're at 35 minutes.
All right. So we're getting ready to wrap up here, and I want to go through just a couple of things that may help you. So we use YouTube a lot in our house, and there are free social stories on there. I also, when I don't understand Common Core, which happens quite a lot in our house, I will log on there and find what they're learning. And there's just something about being able to see cartoon characters doing it, and to see, oh wow, look how nice this is, or there's music to it. And remember, you can remember lyrics to songs, right? So that's put in our memory bank. And what better way to teach our kiddos than to put it to music, to a song, and they're also learning without realizing they're learning. And that really helped their grades this year. And we had a great teacher who would send home resources, and she was really in tune to my oldest, his learning style. And so we had a really good relationship and partnership, and she gave me some great websites and some apps that we could share together, and so that it was consistent as to what he was doing at school. So if it was an iPad app that he was using at school to take a test, I would have access to that iPad app. He would take that exact test before taking it the next day. So it was exactly the same, and he knew what to expect.
Oh, I sent Natalee because I love it. On YouTube, there's a channel called Wonder Grove Kids. Again, all of these resources will be posted later on. Yes. Wonder Grove Kids is great. I sent a link to Oliver's teacher last year, and I know she played it a lot. And it's geared for kids from kindergarten to 3rd grade. And they're quick little 2 to 3 minute videos that can discuss everything from keeping your hands to yourself to walking in line, sitting quietly, how to be a good friend, all the things you want. It's quick, it's blunt, but it's not too blunt. It's kind of entertaining. My kiddo really likes it.
Yes, and I was on there today, and there is a getting ready for school app, or getting ready for school video, and it's so neat because it's these little cartoon characters, and they do a game, and it's about the rules of school, and it's so neat, and it talks about all those things, keeping your hand to yourself, nice words to use, and it's just a quick video, but it hits on so many things that my kiddos just need. A quick reminder of the rules of school and what to do, and it's in such a fun way that it makes it fun. And they also have a website. They have videos on YouTube, and then they also have this website, and there's a ton of information
on the website. There's a section for teachers and there's a section for kids, so feel free to check that. I just want to say really quick that if you ever want to contact an ally, you can always call 800-609-8449. Just type in your zip code and it'll direct you to the ally in your area. Or you can visit us online at www.inautism.org. If you go under staff, you can find our map and find the ally directly in your area with their extension.
Yes, we are online, and we are on Twitter, and we are on Facebook, and we love to hear from parents, and we love to share with parents, and please feel free to call us at any time, and always look for trainings in your area. And if you need any trainings, please always call us and contact us, because we would love to help out in any way possible. And I think we're getting ready to wrap here today.
Yeah.
So we appreciate all the parents, all the caregivers, teachers, therapists, everyone that joined us today. We hope this helped, and we will continue, answering questions that are in the comment section of Facebook, and then also provide you with a list of resources that we discussed today. Thank you all.
Thank you. Ooh, one last thing. If you're watching this later after it's been recorded and not live, you can always hashtag Ask an Ally back to cool, and everybody will see your tips and tricks. Thanks.
Yay, thank
Bye.
you.